Okay, so we've been just 2 hours now, and as you can see, we're very, very close. I'll put the 2 black markers on there at 800 mils before, so you can see we're really close to actually getting up to our 800 mils. Maybe another 5 minutes and we're going to be about done. So while we're doing that, and we're just waiting for it to come through, let's talk a little bit about, we want to make some gin, and we're going to use the air still for it. With several options. Firstly, we can put the botanicals into our fermentation and do a fermentation with those botanicals in. And the botanicals then will flavour the liquid, and when we put the flavoured alcohol in there, we're going to extract it, and there's going to be some of those flavours of the botanicals. So that's one way that we can make the gin. Another way we can do it is we can take our alcohol that's come through here, dilute it down to 40%, and then add some botanicals to it. That will then flavour it. The only trouble with doing it that way is that we'll actually then end up with a coloured liquor. So we'll end up with a coloured gin. Some people would call that bathhouse gin. Basically, bathhouse gin was a cheap option to the clear gin that you could buy, and it was cheaper because obviously it didn't need a second distillation. So what we would recommend, if we're going to do that, is we would then put it back into the machine, add some water to it, and extract it again, and this time it would come through without any colour. So we'd end up with a lovely clear gin with those botanical flavours. The third way that we can do it is by using our botanical basket. This is one that comes with the air still, or which can be bought with the air still, comes with the air still gin botanicals set. And we have a little bit of muslin here that we can put the botanicals inside. So the botanicals will go in here. We can then seal it and put it in the lid here. And this will then go underneath the lid, which I will show you once this is finished coming through as to where it actually fits. But that way, the flavours that come off the liquid which we put inside the still, the alcohol flavours will go up in through the botanical basket into the column. The fan will then chill it, and it will come through with those flavours already in. So those are the options that we've got available to us with the gin botanicals. Botanicals are great. We can absolutely create our own alcohol. That's the real bonus. We can flavour it to whatever much we want, or however much we want. There are other things that we can do as well. And what may be worth looking at is we have things like a gin flavoured craft distilling kit, which has all sorts of different flavours in there. But I've got a separate video on that, so I'm not going to waste any time on it. So the other thing we can do is utilise some of the flavourings that we have on the website. All sorts of different flavours on the website, well worth having a good look. And for example, we've got here a box of London gin. London gin is very similar to a Tanqueray type gin, and each of these sachets will do 1.125 litres. So that's 1 full bottle and 1 1/2 size bottle. So the 2 sachets together would do 3 times 75 cl bottles. So each of those can be added to our alcohol that we have treated. And all the different ones are all the same. So we've got whiskey, we've got a Gordon's style gin, we've got a brandy. There are all sorts of different ones that we do in the range. So have a good look on the website to see what is available. That is not the problem, obviously, in terms of the choice. You can make anything you want within reason from this particular piece of equipment. So I'm going to stop the still now because we're actually up to the mark here. I'm going to switch the machine off. We've got the little switch at the back here, and that will turn it off. It will carry on dripping for a little while, but don't worry about that. What we're now going to do is we're going to take this alcohol, the 800 mils at 60%, and we're going to dilute it by adding 400 mils of water. I'm just going to check that the whole thing is 60% before we add it. So we're going to check that on our hydrometer here. I'm actually going to pour it, because I find it a little bit easier, into a jug. And then we can take some of that, put it into our trial jar, and then we're going to drop our spirit hydrometer in. Just give it a twirl so it doesn't stick to the sides. And as you can see, you probably just see we're just a fraction, oh no we're not, we're bang on 60, bang on 60. So the 60% alcohol in that, made to perfection. Congratulations, Richard. So our 60% we're now going to dilute by adding 400 mils of water. So I'll put that back in there. And we're going to take 400 mils. Of water, add that to it, a little bit more to go. And we're now going to run it through our carbon cartridge. The carbon cartridge, if you remember, we soaked earlier. We actually left that 20 minutes, half an hour in some hot water. It's got the two washers either side of it, and we've tightened it up so that we can then run the alcohol through it. So we're going to put that in position here. We're going to add this alcohol into our collection chamber. Just going to add the final little drip of water. So that makes it bang up to date. And we're going to put the lid on it, and we're going to leave it. That will take, as I said, about 6 hours for it to run through. It's the final piece of the jigsaw to actually removing some of the off flavours which are in the alcohol. As we've said before, we've basically got vodka there. We can add the flavourings to it to create whatever drink we want. Cost-wise, for the vodka in that state, we're looking at just over £1 a litre. Once we add the flavourings, we're up to around the £2.50 a bottle. So great value for money, and you can obviously have a lot of fun playing with this and enjoying yourself. Right, so our machine's finished, and what we're going to do with it now? Obviously we need to clean it up and get it sorted. The liquid is still quite hot, so we're going to unplug the lid, like so. We're going to unplug the mains, like so. And now, with this, we want to pour it away. I would strongly recommend that you leave it a little bit to cool before you actually do the pouring away. The liquid in there is not really very pleasant smelling. What we've done is we've extracted the best quality alcohol from it, and we're now basically left with the sugar wash. So all I'm going to do now is pour that away into the sink. As I said, be very careful because it really is hot. Should really be left rather than doing what I've just done. And we're going to rinse that out with water. Bearing in mind I've got the ceramic saddles in the base at the moment, so I'm just giving them a good rinse as well, and they will remain in position. So the ceramic saddles have now had a little rinse as well, and we are now ready for our next one. So we can now start again, 4 litres into the still, taken up to the full mark. We're going to add our ceramic saddles, and we're going to add our distiller's conditioning. The lid's going to go on, and off it goes. Now, we did mention about the botanical basket. Here is the botanical basket. It has its botanicals in position here. On the lid, you can probably see a little nipple sticking out here, just on the edge. Now, all we need to do is to make sure that the indentation here on this lid will go over the nipple, and we can just turn it. Once we've turned it, it will then remain in place, and it will stay there and it won't go anywhere. So really, really simple. Turn it back, lift it off, out it comes. To go in, the little indentation, just by the lever, just give it a turn, that's in position, it's not going anywhere. So very, very simple to operate. Every so often we would recommend that you give the still a really good clean by putting cleaning solution, but again there's a separate video on that and separate instructions on how to deal with cleaning your air still, but it will need doing from time to time. Excellent!